Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to film just a really quick weekend reading update, just to go over a couple of the books that I read last week and then what I am currently working on reading this weekend. So I've had a pretty good reading week last week and into this weekend. I finished 2 books last week and I'm on track to finish my 3rd book later today. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it, but if not, then by tomorrow. So 3 books this week, which I feel pretty good with. So today I wanted to show the 2 books that I read last week, what I'm currently reading, and then the 2 titles that I am trying to decide between for what I will be reading going into next week. So the first book that I finished last week was early last week, and that was Jane Austen's Emma. And this is a buddy read that I did with Ann Novella, and we actually filmed our discussion video today, and so I'm not going to go into too much of my thoughts about it here. I will just save those for you to hear freshly in the discussion video with Ann. But I do just want to say that overall, I was disappointed actually with Emma. I had gone in with pretty high expectations and very few of them were met. That's all I'm going to say. You can catch some of the some of my more detailed opinions the middle of next week when our discussion video will go live on our channels. The second book that I read last week was Natashas Dance, A Cultural History of Russia by Orlando Figes. And this was absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed this. It took me about 8 days to read. It's quite thick. It's not necessarily a dense book, but there is certainly a lot of information and a lot that is taking place in this book. It gives us the cultural history of Russia from around the early to mid 1700s up through the 1960s. So obviously in Russian history, that is an incredibly large swath of time, and a lot occurred within that time period. What I loved about this the most is the organization that Orlando Figes decided to have his book take. And the way he did it is it's 8 parts, and each part analyzes a different aspect of Russian culture through a particular lens. So you have a part that's all about religion, a part that's all about literature, and then music, and then ballet, and architecture, and language, and just sort of all these little aspects that make up a particular culture, and then he analyzes Russian cultures through those lenses. It's absolutely phenomenal. And the title, Natashas Dance, derives from a scene in Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace when Natasha, one of the characters, is at a sort of a gathering, and she is dancing this peasant dance, and the scene sort of signifies the melding of the upper and lower classes in Russian culture, and sort of this special quality that the cultural aspect of Russia had at melding all peoples together. So I am going to be filming a full review for this book, so I'm not going to say anything more here. I will save some of my other thoughts for a dedicated review video for this book. But it was absolutely incredible, definitely a 5-star read, and certainly one that I will be rereading again in the future, just to get everything, just to sort of pull out all of the details that I missed the first time through. The book that I am currently reading, and hopefully will be able to finish today, is Simon Dixon's biography of Catherine the Great. I have just under 100 pages left, so I'm hopeful that I'll be able to finish it today and then have 3 books read this week, but I will see what happens. So I had a Catherine the Great biography on my November TBR. It was not this one, however. It was Catherine the Great by Virginia Rounding. However, I decided to read Simon Dixon's biography before reading the biography by Virginia Rounding, just because Simon Dixon's biography is a little bit more of an overview. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit shorter, and it's more of an overview of Catherine the Great's life, whereas Virginia Rounding's biography is a little bit more detailed. It's a little thicker. It's a little bit more in depth. And the only other Catherine the Great biography that I have read is Robert K. Massey's biography of her, which was absolutely phenomenal. But I read it a little while ago, and so I wasn't as brushed up on all of the smaller details of Catherine the Great's life as I wanted it to be. So I thought that reading Simon Dixon's biography, a little bit more of a lighter overview, would be a good place to start before diving into Virginia Rounding's more detailed biography. That way I'm sort of brushing up my memory, and then I'll be able to approach her biography with a little bit more of a knowledge base, which will hopefully help to solidify the information that she will be presenting in her work. So this is absolutely fantastic. It's definitely a little bit more of a lighter overview of Catherine the Great's life, but it's incredibly well written. It's my first book to read by Simon Dixon, but I'm certainly impressed with his writing style. He does a lot of pull quotes. Catherine the Great had an incredible amount of writing that she left behind, and she exchanged correspondence with some very high-profile individuals of her day who also left behind incredibly large amounts of writing, such as Voltaire, Diderot, and the Brothers Grimm. And so there are plenty of letters and journal entries and just little bits and pieces of writing to pull from. So it really brings a great sort of a first-person perspective, first-hand account perspective to this work, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it. I have two books that I will show next that are both possibilities for starting tomorrow and for reading next week. So the first is Mikhail Zygar's The Empire Must Die, Russia's Revolutionary Collapse, 1900 to 1917. This is a used copy that I bought on Thrift Books, and it's an ex-library copy from the Dallas Public Library System. So there's a sticker under the Mylar cover that I can't get off. So that's a little bit annoying. However, that doesn't really pertain to anything. So this is one of the options for my reading next week. Michael Zygar wrote a book called All the Kremlin's Men, which is the only book by him that I have read. That's what led me to pick this one up, which I'm very interested in. So this is a possibility, and then the other possibility is Simon Montefiore's Prince of Princes, the life of Potemkin, I can never say his name correctly, who was basically the right-hand man of Catherine the Great, Catherine the Great's primary lover, possibly secret husband, sort of her second brain. And so this is a biography of him, as well as sort of a biography or a book about their relationship. And so this is another possibility going into next week. So I'm trying to decide between the two of these. It will be one of these. They're both about the same length. They're both a little over 500 pages. So I don't really think it's possible for me to get both of them read next week. So I'm trying to decide sort of between the two of them which one I want to go with. So I will probably do an update whenever I decide which one of those that I do decide to pick. But those are sort of what I have read, what I'm currently reading, what I will be reading. I just wanted to do a little catch-up video. And that is all for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.